Today I will be featuring several builds by funnystuffs, who you can find on both Instagram and Flickr, and I'll have links in the description for those. So the theme that connects these models is Warhammer 40,000. Now if you're not familiar with Warhammer 40k, you owe it to yourself to look into it. It's this fictional universe with vast amounts of lore. It's hard to explain in a nutshell, but Stepan Ancora describes it pretty concisely as a medieval dark fantasy kingdom, but it's placed in the future with laser guns, plasma cannons, spaceships, etc. Anyway, everything about the Warhammer 40,000 universe just screams badass, and I think the same applies to funnystuffs models, so let's take a look. So the Ultramarines are one of the most recognizable characters from the Warhammer 40,000 universe. They're basically genetically modified super soldiers fitted to power suits who serve the Emperor of Mankind, who's kind of a god. Here's what funnystuffs says about his Ultramarines. It took me a long time with many iterations of the Space Marine armor to come up with the design for this squad. Each is fully articulated and posable as shown in the images, and have their own unique weapons and war gear. And of course you can find more pictures of these on funnystuffs Flickr. He uses a lot of really fantastic building techniques and really creative parts usage on these, and the fact that they're fully posable is extremely impressive. I don't know if you've ever tried building mechs like this, but it's not simple, so this is just a fantastic job. So next we have the Terminators. These are the tactical dreadnought armored space marines. The Terminator armor prioritizes melee fighting, close quarters, and slaying power over maneuverability. So it's a bit bulkier, and you got some more heavy weapons. funnystuffs has two variations of this design. One is the Cataphractii armor pattern, and one is the Indomitus armor pattern. Here's what he says about it. My two favorite Terminator armors, the Cataphractii and Indomitus patterns. These are much more densely built than the regular Marines and have a lot of heft. I'm particularly happy with how the captain's head turned out with the Ninjago cyborg face and scuba mask. Now next we've got Rogueldorn. Rogueldorn is actually a specific character in the Warhammer 40k universe. He's also known as the Praetorian of Terra, and he was the Primarch of the Imperial Fist's Space Marine Legion. What are Primarchs? Well, I'm not going to go into it too much, but basically all you need to know is that they're very powerful and very important in the Warhammer 40k universe. Anyway, funnystuffs says, Rogueldorn was one of my earliest Warhammer 40k creations and still one of my favorite. I tried to replicate the Primarch's armor as well as I could based on various available art of the character. Some of his characteristic features are his pure white hair, the large eagles behind his leg and on his torso, and 3 red jewels on each side of his leg. So you can really appreciate funnystuffs' attention to detail with these builds. You got a lot of great stuff going on with this build, and I mean, isn't all that gold just glorious to look at? Alright, next we've got this guy, with a hard to pronounce name. Robute Giliman. Robute Giliman is sometimes referred to as the Avenging Sun, the Victorious, the Master of Ultramar, and the Blade of Unity. He is the Primarch of the Ultramarines Space Marine Legion. He's kind of a big deal. As a Primarch, of course, he's insanely powerful and extremely badass, and once again, funnystuffs does him justice. Here's what he says. Honestly, probably the crown jewel of my LEGO 40k creations. I tried to recreate his armor as it is depicted in the current timeline. His helmet is a custom part that I sculpted out of epoxy and painted, but this can be switched with a hairpiece to be 100% LEGO. One of the really unique parts of the build is the Flaming Emperor's sword. As with the others, the trick is making him able to articulate despite the bulky armor. Once again, funnystuffs does not disappoint. He achieves incredible intricacy in design with just a few choice parts, and of course the articulation of the model is extremely impressive. Even the sword alone is an extremely creative build, and it's got this really nice shape to it. Not to mention the custom-made helmets, though it might upset the purists, it is still extremely impressive. If you guys like these models, you really need to check out funnystuffs' page on Flickr or on Instagram, because he has a lot of this stuff and it's all equally impressive. Those links are in the description for you to check out. And of course, thanks for watching, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video if you enjoyed it. See you next time on Killer Builds.